Oh, hey, Bus Bench Babes. We have an awesome interview today. I am interviewing my personal business coach, Torey Severino. He is in Southern California. He runs a successful real estate team in addition to being a coach for Tom Ferry. He's got a bombshell wife. His daughter is an avid gymnast. He's got a darling little dog named Jacob. And Torey's passion is health and fitness. And I love that he puts his money where his mouth is in terms of accountability. So this is going to be a super fun conversation. Let's dive in.
You're listening to the Girl Get Your Face Off a Bus Bench podcast, where we invite you to check your ego at the app, grab a cup of coffee, and get ready to dive into all things real estate marketing, social media, friendship, hardship, love, money mindset, and all the things that celebrate you as a badass boss babe.
We're here to encourage you, show up for you, give you a loving kick in the pants when you need it most, and be your soft place to land on the hardest of days. So pull up a seat at our table and get ready to be inspired and start living your best life by design.
Welcome to the Girl Get Your Face Off a Bus Bench podcast. We are so excited you're here.
Okay, girls, let's dive in.
Hey, Beth.
Hi, Torey. Thanks for being here today. I'm so excited.
I'm honored to be here on your podcast and your video cast. This is really exciting, and thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you so much. Tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
Well, you just did an amazing job. I don't think I could tell you any better than that. So I'm 46 years old. I love real estate. I love health and fitness. I love life. I'm a type 1 diabetic, 42 years of my 46 years on this planet. And I'm a transplant from New York, lived and born and raised 25 years, and decided to come out west to beautiful sunny California. And we've been here now going on 21 years.
Wow. That's awesome. Well, it's a big change moving from New York to Southern California for sure.
It was a great transitional change. It was something that I probably underestimated, but I don't regret any of it now.
That's awesome. Well, what brought you into coaching? So you were a successful real estate agent, but what brought you into the coaching aspect of things?
Great question. So I actually, before coaching, I was a teacher. And I was a teacher, one of those teachers, so I could become a coach. And I mean that because I was a football player, and when my playing days were done, I had the privilege of coaching at my alma mater, football. And I absolutely love football. Football was my passion. It was my life. I wanted to
You talk about it a lot on our calls.
You do. Right? And I wanted to be that Nick Saban or, the next great coach. And it just didn't work out for me in football. And so when I decided that it wasn't going to work out with football or basketball coaching, and I coached both sports for quite a few years, and I absolutely loved it. I had a real passion for it. When I realized it wasn't going to pay the bills at the level I was at, I decided that it was ready for a life change. And my whole family thought I was nuts to move out west. And I moved out west, and I had a great uncle out west. The only relative I had, he was 80 at the time. He was a World War II vet. His wife had just passed away. And he said, hey, I'd love a roommate. And I said, sure. And I didn't know if it would amount to anything at all. And here I am.
Yeah, me and a young guy and an 80-year-old.
25-year-old going to hang out with an 80-year-old, right? We're really good for the social network. So I decided to move out west, and I stopped in Palm Desert, California, which is out in the Coachella Valley, east of Los Angeles, a couple hours, out in a kind of a resort market. And I didn't go to the beach where I was intending to go. And sure enough, here we are 21 years later. We have since moved from Palm Desert, my wife and I and family. But the reality was I started there, and I had no idea what I was going to do. And I saw one ad in the paper, and basically it said real estate. And I got involved. And right away I said, I need a coach. I don't know anything about real estate. When I say I was green as grass, I was green as grass. And Tom Ferry was actually one of my first coaches in another ecosystem that he was a part of at that time. And it just was a natural progression for me as being an athlete, always being driven by a coach and pushed by a coach, looking up to coaches. And like I said, I didn't really know where to start with real estate. I came from a family business. My mom had run a successful business for 40 years and 85 years in our family. But the reality was I didn't know anything about real estate. So having a coach was a great way for me to figure out how this process works, and also have somebody in my corner that was there to support me when I had doubts, had negativity, had resistance. That was the coach's job.
I didn't know that about you, that you got into coaching immediately. I didn't get into coaching until I'd been in the business for 20 years.
Yeah.
And I wish I would have done it the way you did it.
I think actually you asked me, earlier at a different point. I think every new agent should be in some type of coaching or mentoring program.
Yes, I think so too. Because I think you're going to see success so much faster.
Without a doubt. And, in this industry, especially, there's just, you're handed the license when you pass your exam and you're just out to the wolves, right? And there's so much information. There's so much content. There's so many different ways of doing it. And I think having a coach that can help you design a plan, figure out your goals, have a schedule, have your disciplines and have your accountability, it's the key to success.
Yeah, for sure. What drew you to the Tom Ferry organization?
Well, I knew Tom. I've known Tom for a long time, 2+ decades, pretty much my entire real estate career. And I was enamored with Tom's energy, his enthusiasm. Tom. I mean,
it's infectious. Yes.
Infectious. And I felt such a strength of confidence from him that I could do this. A guy in the desert that was 25, didn't know anyone. And I heard him speak and I was just drawn to his attention. And, he was a part of a different ecosystem with his father for a long time. And when he decided to create his own company, I had stayed loyal to his father for many, many years. And he taught me how to sell, become a phenomenal salesman. And I had a really long, great decade plus of business and run. What I learned from Tom taught me not just how to sell, he taught me how to run a profitable business. And obviously, Tom...
Those are two completely different things that agents misunderstand all the time.
I talk about it all the time on our private calls. I mean, how agents, come in and they make a little bit of money, but it's when you start making money, you start having success, or you have setbacks, how do you run that? How do you manage a team? How do you manage expenses? How do you know what to spend money on, what not to spend money on? There's so many different distractions and disruptors in the real estate space. And it's really, really hard. So I think that coach's job to really get to know you and your business and your style. And Tom was really great at that. Tom is one of the most versatile people I've ever known. Not just that, he's got a huge heart. He's got an enormous heart. He really cares about people. He wants to see people do well. And that's not a sales pitch. That's just Tom genuinely. Knowing him for so long, he'll spend any amount of time with somebody. He will, the great thing about Tom is he doesn't want to be the smartest guy in the room. He wants that Henry Ford approach, right? He wants to have access to the smartest people. And he's always bringing new ideas and fresh ideas and tech savvy and tech enabled ways, as this industry has changed so much over the years. And he just bringing that to the public into the domain in the real estate space.
Yeah, I feel like he totally keeps his finger on the pulse with all of that. And it's incredible to see him shift and pivot, especially like we saw that last year during COVID. It was like, holy crap, how did he do that? It's incredible.
Isn't it? Yeah. And I look at our average agent and our ecosystem at Tom Ferry International here, and looking at how much that has progressed through COVID, and how, in my coaching experience, the 75 agents I coach, 70% of you, 80% of you had quantum leaps during the pandemic, which is not normal, right? I mean,
no.
And real estate's hot, but the reality is you still have to know what you're doing. And you
absolutely
still have guidance and be able to run the business. And you've done a tremendous job of that. And I'm honored to coach you through that.
Well, thank you. Well, like what impact do you see like real estate, like coaching having on real estate businesses? Like just in general. Yeah. I mean, you coach all different business models. Like,
I think coaching is an essential quality to life, whether it's in any business you have, whether it's in relationships, whether it's in, finding your goals and why. Most humans take what we call the path of least resistance, right? The status quo. The coach's job is to help, yes, inspire and motivate. Motivate comes within, but the coach's job is to show you a direction, show you examples, hopefully with some experience on their own, but also coaching other agents that can say, questions you've had doubt on or challenges you've had in the past, we've overcome them by maybe other examples of clients that were maybe in a very similar situation or an ideal situation that was just like yours. So I think the coach's job is to help show support, number one, to help encourage, but sometimes it's that blind faith in being the eternal optimist as the coach that helps the client just say like, I can do this. And when then the client experiences success, that's where I get the total enjoyment out. People are like, why do you do what you do? I do what I do because I love watching you guys and gals I coach succeed and create this life by design and, building these profitable businesses, changing people's lives. And, having so many different components to this business, there are people that are very transactional and there are people that do this because they love what they do. right? So there's two different things, and you have a love for this business. You're one of the clients that I coach that I could say, Beth really loves what she does. She loves watching people enjoy their lives and improve their lives through real estate and the relationships you build.
It's one of my favorite things about it. Yeah.
And you exude that. And I exude it from the standpoint of the coach watching you guys. I kind of like, I hate to say it this way, but it's like you all are kind of like my children, and I like watch you grow up and watch you evolve through this business. And it's just very rewarding. And that's what I really love about coaching.
I love that. What could somebody expect if they hired a coach? Like, what does that look like in a tangible way?
Interesting question. So I'll share how I do it, and we'll go maybe back to when you and I started. And I think we have to have ground zero, and I've got to find out, number one, what's important. What are you looking from a coach? So I always, I go pretty extensive with the client, and we do a very thorough assessment or interview. And what's great at Tom is we have them fill that out online. It's very thorough, a lot of detailed questions, a lot of specifics. I want to see where they are. It's my job as a coach to meet you where you are, but help you get where you want to go. Okay. And you may not even believe in that's possible yet. And you may have some doubt or cynicism or skepticism.
Yes, me.
There, right? We've all been there at some point in time, myself.
Yes.
But I think it's the coach's job to kind of assess where the client is and then find out, do we need to make money now, right now? Are they destitute and broke and they need to make money? Or are they in the business and have some experience and have some financial backing? And now we're leveraging and scaling and building a business like a team, like you did with your team. So I think you got to meet the client where they are. But I think I always start, regardless of the client, I start with 4 main steps and 4 main principles. And the first thing is we have to know, what is your clear and your crystal why? Why are you in coaching? Why are you in real estate? Why did you decide on this career? Are you doing it just for the financial reward, or is there something bigger than that? And when I can get really specific with the client, and in most cases they can get emotional, I know I've got buy-in. And now I know really what's pushing the needle, because one person's motivation to somebody else's could be completely different. And it's okay either way. Yeah. I'm not judging either way. It's not my job to judge. It's my job to help support. So when we can get really specific with a clear and crystal why, Yahoo, that's an epiphany for that client. Number 2, I want to see, what does your average day look like? What is your schedule, right? Because I believe that discipline and consistency in this business win most days. And discipline is doing what you hate to do, but doing it like you love it, right? Doing the
You and I talk about this all the time.
All the time, right? Whether it's weight management, whether it's financial management, whether it's relationships, whether it's business. I mean, discipline wins and consistency wins in that game.
Yeah.
So when I can see the client's schedule and see, are they a squirrel where they're all over the place and distracted by every little distraction? Or, can they be somewhat focused for a period of time? And I think it starts really with the morning routine, as you and I talk about a lot, setting the time for the day. Number 3 is, are they prepared to take massive action? And are you really willing to work outside your comfort zone? And if you use me as an example, I'm not the greatest man in the world. I don't mean it that way. But I didn't know anybody in Palm Desert when I moved there, except an 80-year-old great uncle. And my coach said, hey, bud, you got to get out and start talking to people. This is a contact sport. You got to get out and start meeting people. And I know I was very gregarious and very expressive as a personality, and I could talk to anyone being from New York, and that's kind of how I was raised. But the reality was there was a lot of resistance, a lot of rejection, a lot of uncertainty. And I said, I didn't move here to fail. I didn't move here because everyone back east was like, oh, you'll be back in 6 months. You're going through a quarter life crisis. When are you coming home? That's all my family and friends and everyone would say, that they thought I was coming back. They thought I was nuts, right? So I had to prove them all wrong. So there was internal motivation, but external motivation as well from all those people. So when we can take massive action and overcome that, we've hit something. And then number 4, how are you with accountability? Internal, which is yourself, what you put on your pressure on yourself, or how you hold yourself accountable, or the internal drive you have. Or number 2, external, the coach, right? Your friends, your peer group, the people that are hopefully pulling you ahead, where maybe you're the small fish in the big pond versus the big fish in the little pond. So that's what, when you get with me, that's what you expect. Plus, our ecosystem with all the tech and all the videos and all the training, it's my job to kind of help digest that and say, let's start here. Because as you know, in our ecosystem, we have an enormous amount of information and knowledge.
Yeah, it's overwhelming. I think if you just like clicked on the Tom Ferry page and you're like, all right, I'm just going to try to wing this on my own, I think it could cause overwhelm very easily.
I kind of get giddy inside and laugh when people say, oh, I don't need a coach. I'm just going to go on YouTube and watch his videos. Like, okay, you're going to watch all 400 videos? Okay.
Yeah, you're like, good luck to you.
Good luck there, right? Like,
yeah.
So yeah, the coach's job is to help navigate and guide. And again, we always talk about this is a marathon, not a sprint, right? I've been in coaching. You asked me, how long have I been in coaching? 22 years. 22 years. I've been in coaching. Well, even prior to that, I had a coach, I had a trainer, right? So pretty much my whole life, I've had a coach in every aspect.
In some aspect of life, yeah.
In sports, whether it's been training and making this developmental move, a life coach, a business coach. I mean, many years I have 2 to 3 coaches at a time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And also it's like terrifying. I think about that. I'm like, oh my God, I couldn't even do that.
It's a lot of pressure, but life is a choice, right? And I look at life as a gift, and I want to get the most out of it. I want to play big and have fun and enjoy this. And if we haven't learned anything in the last 2 years, life is a gift, right? Let's take full advantage of it. Seize the moment, seize the opportunity, and I'm all about that.
That's awesome. What are some of your most rewarding things about being a coach? Like you talked about being like Papa Bear, like watching all of us grow up and stuff, but just
watching all of you like transform. Like look where you and I when we started, right? When you came to me at that time and you said, I heard you're a great coach. I need you as a coach. And it's okay if I share. You got very emotional with me, remember? And I was like, this person cares. I need to help this woman. And like we always say in our ecosystem as coaches, we can't care more than the client, and we got to meet you where you are. But a lot of times, maybe I put too much into it in sense, but that's just because that's the passion, that's the love I have for it. And I love you guys and gals I coach. We develop very deep relationships. It's not just like, oh, you're a coach. We've all had those coaches where you're like, it's fake, it's a facade, and they're just like selling you a bag of characteristics and, funny bones. And it's like, that's not us, right? We get really deep with you guys and gals. And I think when you can develop a very deep relationship and knows what makes you tick. I met your husband. I know what, I know
you already knew so much about him. It was like you guys were like already friends.
Exactly. And when I met him this year in Dallas, it was like we connected right away and we had that vibe because I had heard so much about him. You had shared experiences. You had shared your good parts and your bad parts, right? Like, you navigate that through. It's not like a therapy session, but it does help in some sense the more I can know about you guys and gals. So that's what I truly enjoy about it, is getting deep and helping another person achieve the life that they want and help them get there. And being a small part of that, or having a little bit part of that, is just where I get the enjoyment out of.
That's awesome. I think I would love that part. I do love that part about, I don't coach professionally, but like running a team and mentoring people on a team. I love that aspect of it. Yeah.
And you are coaching, you are coaching your team and your support staff, and, you are a part of that, and other people you inspire that that I coach as well in the ecosystem. You're inspiring those ladies and those gentlemen to say like, holy cow, this woman's killing it. How can I pay attention to her a little bit more, or see what she's doing? So that's the great part about our ecosystem, is the outreach, that kind of spider web or tentacle approach, where you can have access to a lot of people, pick up the phone, send a DM, send a text. Somebody's going to get in touch and help.
So awesome. Okay, well, let's talk about, like, coaching isn't cheap, right? We know this, that if you're a new agent and you're on a shoestring budget, like, what's your recommendation for that agent?
Great question. So I think, like I said earlier, I mean, obviously, with our ecosystem, we have the podcast, right? And we have the YouTube channel, and we have all the stuff that Tom offers free on Illume, our website. And there's a ton of content. So I think most importantly, if you have no budget and you have no money, you've got to get involved. Just get involved. Follow them on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram. Follow the business pages. Get access and just start following and paying attention to the language, paying attention to the chatter, what we're talking about. Coaching, obviously, I have a lot of clients that don't have a lot of money and just go all in. When I joined coaching, I had to borrow money to get into coaching. And
a lot of people, I hear that story from a lot of people.
Yeah, I borrowed it from my mother. Like, she's like, listen, I got to do this. I got to get off running, and I don't want to be one of those statistics, those 1 to 3 deals a year. I can't survive. And I think I sold 18 or 19 homes my first year at a brand new market.
It's incredible.
How'd I do that? I did that with the support of a coach. So I think you've got to start, number one. Obviously, when I started 22 years ago, technology was a lot different than it is now. We didn't have social media. We didn't have YouTube. Where now an agent could come into the real estate space and get right on the internet and start learning and say, okay, I can follow this video or follow this plan. I think you have to simplify it. I think if I was to tell anyone, just get involved, start following, get involved in the space and start paying attention. Number two, if you could borrow money, it's short-term pain for long-term gain. I rarely have a client that gets into coaching and doesn't succeed and have a 7, 10, 12x return on their initial investment year one. I mean,
which is huge.
Right. And I have, for example, a woman I coach in San Diego who didn't sell a single house last year and through the pandemic. And then she came in this year and she's already had 18 sales year one with our coaching ecosystem.
Holy crap. Yeah, that's huge.
It's huge. And she's changed her life and she's in her 60s. I have another woman I coach who left California, moved to a different state because she had a sister that had a business there. She didn't sell a single house in California when she first came into the program because she was, in different markets and it was a very challenging market, low inventory, we know listing crisis. She moved, I got her to join a team. She found a right team. She just closed her 20th transaction and has made over $200,000 in her first year in the new market. And
holy crap. She doesn't even really know anyone.
She doesn't know anybody except her sister and a couple of her sister's friends, wow. How impressive is that, right? So
yeah,
you have those examples and really you've got to have the desire. And I can see it. If they have the it factor and I can see that right on the initial call, they're if they're making excuses and telling me stories and justifying why they can't, that client might be at first till I can help them change their mindset and reframe how they're thinking. But if a client's I will do anything you tell me to do and I need to make money now, that client's going to win most of the time.
That's so awesome.
So I think number one, you've got to get involved in YouTube. You've got to get involved in watching our ecosystem. And if you don't have money, you've got to find a way. Can I borrow it from someone? Can I do a loan payment on something? Can I put it on a credit card knowing not that, and it's not about, get it on debt. We want you to get in debt. No, we know how being a part of the ecosystem, you're a consummation of the 5 people you hang around with. And if your 5 buddies are drinking beer and hanging out on a Friday night and wanting to party at the club all the time. And you're like, hey, I want to make a change for my life. I'm not just happy with this 9-to-5 job anymore, just surviving. And I call a job just broke, right? That's not a way to live in my eyes. And this great country we live in, there's no better opportunity than being in this country. It doesn't matter who you are, what color you are, what skin you are, what your sexual identity is, where you come from, what your story is. You can succeed in this country, the greatest country that that is on the world to achieve. And all the people in our ecosystem that have succeeded have shown that, right? So that's the greatest part about it. So taking advantage of that. And then number 3, finding somebody that can mentor you until you have the financial capability, somebody that can push you, whether it's your broker, whether it's an office veteran that you can kind of be a mentee to maybe in your office and just get some support. But getting into the coaching program, that fear, that hesitation, oh my gosh, am I going to be able to do it? We have thousands and thousands of people that disprove that theory every day that you can't achieve it.
I know the ecosystem is one of the most incredible organizations that I've been involved with. And I feel just a little small fish in a big pond sometimes, but just digging in and just meeting a handful of people the first few years I was involved. Right. I'm like, oh yeah, I found my tribe. You
found your tribe. And it's very, people say it's a cult. I'm like, it's not a cult. It's a self-improvement, wanting to live a better life program. It's being a part of people that want to achieve, being a part of people that want to excel, want to do better for their family, their friends, their clients, just improving life. And, so many things. You talked earlier about the health aspect, right? I've always been an athlete and I thought I was in decent shape before. And yes, we have this 12-year-old competitive gymnast who's, a little monkey running on bars and flips and this and that. And I look at my little precious baby and I'm like, how are you doing this, right? For 10 years, she's been training. And I look at her, she trains 27 hours a week at 12 years old. And
that's incredible.
Skips sleepovers and doesn't go to extracurricular activities and misses little dances now that she's going into her teenage years. Why? Because she goes to practice. We don't force her to. She's like, no, I'm committed. I want to do this. She sees an opportunity with this. That didn't happen without her coaches. Mommy and daddy don't coach. I don't want to coach my daughter. I want to be daddy. I want to be her father. And that took me a while to adjust to that because I thought, hey, I'm in a coaching program. I can help with her mindset. And she taught me a lesson a couple of years ago, right? She said to me, Daddy, I need you just to be daddy. I said, what do you need me to do before event? She goes, wish me good luck and tell me you love me. And I was like, oh, right? Like,
You're like, I can do this.
okay, I can do this, I guess. Like, shut up.
Yeah.
Right? Don't say anything.
You're like, she already has a coach. She doesn't need another.
And she's got great coaches, Olympian coaches. So, that's the right environment. That's my 12-year-old. And my wife, as she runs and trains for marathons, has a coach, has been with the same trainer for 7 years. People are like, why is that? Because she's running. She ran the LA Marathon last year. My wife was never a runner and she ran the LA Marathon. I was beyond impressed with her with that. With health and fitness, I have a coach. Tom challenged me a few years ago personally. He said, you want to really get in shape, and you know what I do every day. I don't need to post any more pictures to Instagram with a number, but I'm getting towards 1,000 workouts in the last 3 years since January 2nd.
It's incredible.
I wouldn't have done that without a coach. I wouldn't have done that without external support. I wouldn't have done that without accountability of putting that on social media for that reason. I'm tired of taking pictures of myself in the mirror or at a weight machine or here or there or on a walk, but I'm doing that because I'm hitting pinnacle status for me. I'm in the best shape of my life at 46. So that's the coaching environment.
It's incredible, but I love how it affects all aspects of life, not just, you think you're signing up for coaching because it's going to help your real estate business. And I love that this is more of a holistic approach. And it's like, is your house in order? Are your finances in order? Is your marriage in order? Is, all these other things. If they're not, then what does it matter if your real estate business is in order?
Right. You can make all the money in the world and have all the success, but if you don't have some balance and you're not symbiotic in other areas, it doesn't matter.
Right.
And we know life happens. People go through divorce. People go through loss of a child. People go through bankruptcy, right? And some of those people that come into I've seen relationships develop through the coaching program, right? Husbands and wives meet, spouses, they meet each other, they fall in love.
I know, it's so cool.
Isn't that cool to watch that? And because they're like-minded, right? And they're kind of the yin and the yang of each other. Or I see people completely change their financial, future. I see people handling and being able to process a severe loss or a severe, bankruptcy. I mean, a lot of us that have been in the ecosystem for a long time, like myself and like you, remember a different market than what we're dealing with now. It was very challenging for us to come out of the 07, 08, 09 market after the euphoricness of 04, 05, 06, right? Not telling that story and changing the tune and realizing like that was a horrible experience for a lot of people across this nation. A lot of people, there was a lot of, loss and so on and so forth, but getting out from that and realizing I can do it again. I can recreate it, and having the support, the external support, the ecosystem. Tom is our leader and all the great coaches in this ecosystem helps a lot of people get through those kind of hurdles in life and those setbacks.
It's incredible. It's incredible.
It is.
Well, let's end with this last question. What are 3 signs that you and your business are ready to hire a coach, or that you need to hire a coach?
Great question. I would say the first thing is if you are stagnant in your production and you do the same amount of transactions, or you're not able to get ahead and you're just wondering and you're exhausted and you're kind of doing everything. I think you have learned personally that you have to delegate and have great support and have great help. You can't be, making the food behind the scenes, cleaning the tables, taking the orders, ordering the supplies. You can't run the restaurant as one person, right? You need support.
No.
Same for the business in real estate. You cannot be that person that does the same thing. I think when you're ready to make that change and like, guess what? I don't care if you're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. I have clients in their 60s and 70s that recreate themselves. I have a client right now, for example, in Northern California. She never made more than about $500,000-$600,000 a year. And then she's been working with me now 4 years, I believe. And this year she's already ahead at $1.5 million in GCI commission.
Wow.
She has changed her life. She has a team now.
Absolutely.
She has an assistant. She has 3 agents on her team. She has a marketing coordinator. She has a transaction coordinator to help with paperwork. She has an ops manager. And she's realizing, holy cow. And she can take a weekend off when she wants, right? Mm-hmm. She can travel a little bit. She can have time with her grandkids and her children and her wife. She has aspects to be able to do things that she couldn't do before when she was burning 24/7, 7 days a week with no time off. So I think Do you want to be enslaved by this business? Because you know as well as I do, it can get very addicting, right? And you don't
Yeah, and you can burn out real fast.
burn out fast. So I think it's that agent that realizes like, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way. All these other people are doing it. We see these programs online and we see these coaching programs and we're like the smoke and mirrors of it. Is it real? Is it BS? Does it really change? This program changes people. This program changes people. I've been a part of it for 22 years. It changes people. And that's why I'm still a part of it 22 years later. You know me, I'm a realist. There's no con in it. It's real.
Right.
It helps people and change people. So that's what I think, number one, if you're stagnant or you're stuck in a spot or you're uncertain what needs to change. Number two, if you're at a position where maybe your health is out of whack or your finances are out of whack, or you just can't get control of your life and you feel like you're being dragged in different directions, you need a coach. You need somebody that can look outside from the 10,000 foot view and assess where you are and give you some suggestions and ideas and ask some great questions to get you thinking in a different way. The number one reason why people don't join a coaching program is a 3-letter word. I'm sure you know what that word is, but do you want me to give it to you?
Yeah.
Ego.
Oh, yeah.
Always about ego. Pride and ego prevent people. Like, I'll figure it out. I've always done it my way. I know I can do it. You don't know about me. And they're living off, the high school football days era. Ted, what's it? Al Bundy. This is when I did it. And I'm dating myself by using that name. You and I are right? But the reality is, you get what I'm saying? It's like, no, the good.
Yes.
And life just perpetuates and continues. You're not in high school anymore. It's time to transform.
No.
And
that's
the job. And I think number two, I think brand new agents should be in a coaching. I think the National Association of Realtors should require every agent to be part of a mentoring or coaching program. I think overall,
that would be so smart.
Our industry would have a better name and a better reputation, right? You'd have less agents because you'd have higher per person production per agent. And I think overall the reputation of our industry would be a lot stronger if we had everybody going through a mentorship or coaching program. I think it should be a prerequisite. We talk about in California, we have to redo our license and continuing education courses.
Right.
Every years. I think it should be a part of the program.
That'd be so smart.
And I see so many agents, and that I know, that mentor and train new agents that come onto their team through a coaching program before they get to go out and meet with clients and meet with the public. So they do it the right way, an efficient way to help the client and satisfy the client's needs. So they don't waste the client's time or, do things the wrong way. They do things legally, ethically, morally. And those agents that go through those programs and those training programs excel at a much more rapid pace because of the coaching.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, look
absolutely.
at how you guys have grown, and look at your team players that are coaching, right?
Yeah.
They have you, right, as a mentor. They have me to help you, to help them. They still need individual accountability.
Yeah. So, yeah, and I was when I was on a team too. Right, like exactly. I just felt like it was super important.
Yep, exactly.
That's awesome. Well, Torey, tell our listeners where we can find you. Like, what is your social handles that you like the most?
Just my name, Torey Severino, Severino, at Torey Severino on Instagram. We also have our page on Facebook, Torey.Severino. And you can find me on, those are really the best two channels to find me on. YouTube, we have a channel as well.
Yeah, you're good on Instagram too.
Yep, Torey Severino and Associates. I like Instagram because it's fun, it's vibrant, it's energetic. Now with the reels and the TikToks and people really immersing in that, it just gives a whole flair, and you could be yourself. And this is supposed to be fun. This is real estate. It's only real estate. It's not real life. So I tell people, enjoy it, right? And like you guys do, when you can exude that to the public and you really enjoy what you're doing, I think people want to be around that, and people want to hire you because they like you. People hire people they like, right? So you can embody that, and you have a little quirkiness to you or something different or something unique about your tribe, and people love that. And you could see that resonate with the clientele. So I just try to be me. I keep it real. I rub some people the wrong way, but that's okay. I'm not going to help everyone, but I can help a lot.
No, you just got to find your tribe.
Got to find your tribe. It's a big game.
Well, thank you for this fun conversation today. I appreciate your time and rearranging your coaching schedule this morning to be here. And that made me feel real special.
You are special to me, and anything I can do to help you, I'm always going to be here for you.
Thank you.
All right,
Well, until next time, Bus Bench Babes, thanks for joining this fun conversation all about coaching. And reach out to Torey if you have any additional questions, or we can put you in touch with him. He's the real deal, and you can see like how passionate he is about coaching and how he really loves to see all of his coaching clients succeed. So until next time, keep your face off a bus bench and keep being a badass boss babe that you are.
Okay, girls, are you feeling as inspired as we are? We're over here cheering you on because you just finished another episode of the Girl, Get Your Face Off a Bus Bench podcast.
If you want more, head over to girlgetyourfaceoffabusbench.com for show notes and more episodes. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a 5-star review. They mean the world to us, and they're what keep us going.
Girl, thanks for being here.